Welcome, all my fellow Washington brethren and sistren. I am your man and Washington football fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Washington Football Report. Man, I tell you what, I had to go to the throwback, all dressed in all black like the Omen for this one. New name, new jersey, same shit. All right, it's the same Redskins, man. You can change the name, but, all of the same nonsense remains. But look, it's going to be a process. This is not an overnight fix. And the swift movement by Ron Rivera in this moment shows you that the culture, although it seems like it's not changing, okay, is changing. Because had Bruce and company still been here, he wouldn't have been cut right out of the gate. This thing would have drug on, just like the whole situation. And, we don't know all of the facts and all of the details with the wide receiver that's on the NFI list right now. But similar situation in terms of getting in trouble. This is a little bit different in the terms of, you're talking domestic violence. And I want to give a shout out to Taco Boss 21 for hitting me up on IG with this bombshell, because, I'm at home, trying to get some stuff together. I thought this was going to be an early bedtime for me on a Friday night. I'm extremely tired. So I thought, man, I'm going to pack it in early tonight. Call it a night nice and early. Get up tomorrow early in the morning and get the day started right. And I got a message on IG. Have you heard about Derrius Guice? What are you talking about? What about Derrius Guice? Did he get injured again? It's the first thing I'm thinking about. Did he get injured again? And, I open up Bleacher Report, and there it is. Derrius Guice arrested on domestic violence charges. He turned himself in, and the Redskins moved swiftly and cut him. And, the first thing I thought about, and this probably doesn't even, do this any real justice, but the first thing I thought about when I saw that, and my heart dropped, it sunk. And I don't know why I was surprised, and we'll get into that a little bit later on, but the first thing I thought about was, damn, the Philadelphia Eagles were right. and if you recall, on draft day, the Philadelphia Eagles, it was this big story that came out, and I don't know if it was ever substantiated or not, but there was this report that Derrius Guice had a blow up with the Philadelphia Eagles. They were thinking about drafting him. It was a mess, when he had a meeting with them, and so they didn't take him. That story actually came out on draft night, but it reportedly happened, during the process. And so don't know if it was true or not, but something happened because Derrius Guice, a lot of people felt like, I thought he was going to go late first round, early second round, and we got him late second round, damn near into the third round. And we felt good. We traded back. I think the team wanted Kerryon Johnson, ultimately traded back and got Derrius Guice. Felt like we won something there, got a fringe first round back, late stages of the second, and traded back. It felt like a win at the time. But as we later found out via injuries and now this, it wasn't a win. And every time we feel like we're winning something, we actually aren't. Have you noticed that trend yet? Every time we feel like, man, we got to steal, we actually are the ones getting stolen on. And so this is another example of us thinking that we got over on everybody else and we were the ones actually getting over on. And so this one isn't going to sting as much as it would have had we not had the depth. And this is what we talked about yesterday. We just talked about this yesterday. Okay? We got depth for the first time in a long time. Now, you may not love the depth. And I told you, a lot of you were bitching and complaining and moaning about all of the signings in the offseason. And oh my God, remember we talked about why are they signing Peyton Barber? We got 87 backs. Well, this is why you sign a Peyton Barber, okay? Now you have an extra guy. Now that we talked about keeping 5 running backs the entire offseason. That was the thought process. And remember, same thing with the wide receiver position. We didn't know what was going to shake out with that position, but you just add as many bodies as you can because you don't know what's going to happen. Kelvin Harmon goes down, torn ACL, and now the Redskins sign Dontrell Inman. You have to have extra guys. And in this case, We didn't know what was going to happen, but Derrius Guice already had a track record of getting injured. We didn't know he was going to participate in something like this that was going to get him cut. We just didn't know if he was going to be able to stay healthy, but you needed an insurance policy just in case. That's why AD is so important, and that's why he's not going anywhere. But now you take it a step further and you say to yourself, this is why you sign a Peyton Barber. You're thinking to yourself, we don't need this many guys. We got enough backs. It's our deepest position on our team outside of the defensive line. Well, this is why you do things like that. Prepare yourself for anything that could happen. The Redskins did this, and that's why I told you I was actually impressed with the offseason the Redskins turned in. No, it wasn't a bunch of high-profile signings. It wasn't a bunch of guys that were high household names, and there weren't a bunch of guys that was going to get you excited. However, there were a bunch of guys there that was going to provide depth. In the case of an emergency, in the case of injuries, we had other guys that could step in and the talent level wouldn't drop off the table. So, not having Derrius Guice, you know what I feel like with Guice? And we've had this discussion before because why? Because we're the Redskins / the Washington football team, and these things always happen to us. So we've been through this before. But you know what this feels like? This feels like Junior Gillette all over again. This feels like Reuben Foster all over again. I really never had Derrius Guice. Hard to miss something I never really had. Okay, I'm just going to be really honest with you. We got bits and pieces. We got flashes. As Randy Jordan talked about, and I talked about it on the show last night, he teased us with an appetizer. We wanted the whole entree. We never got the whole entree. That's cool. You know what I mean? I can get full off of an appetizer. All right, but I'm good. I'm going to push that to the side. We got other items here that are ready to be used, ready to be consumed. And so we're going to move on. This was the one position on the offensive side of the football that we could afford a blow like this. We could absorb this one and continue on because we've got enough backs. And the next guy up is going to be Peyton Barber, and we're not going to blink. So if you're out there looking for a pity party from me, you're not going to get it because I'm not going to miss Derrius Guice because I never really got to know Derrius Guice, the football player. And I want to take it a step further. This was something that was looming. I don't know if you Redskins fans were hearing this. There were innuendos out there floating around that this new regime, Ron Rivera and company, felt like Derrius Guice was a little immature and that he could potentially be cut. I wasn't buying the latter portion of that he could potentially be cut. However, I did believe that they felt like he was a bit immature. And he's one of those guys that's eccentric. I wouldn't necessarily call him immature as much as eccentric. After this latest episode, though, I may have to walk that back. Maybe he is a bit immature. However, I just felt like he was eccentric. I thought he was a little unique. He was a little different, And you can't coach everybody the same. You can't treat everybody the same. He was one of those guys, happy-go-lucky, fun-loving guy, a little rough around the edges, sort of like Clinton Portis. A different cat. But, when you turn on the lights on Sunday, he's a guy that gives you everything he's got. That's what I was expecting from him. Never really got that. Like I said, we didn't get enough Derrius Guice to miss him. So I was looking forward to him potentially staying healthy this year and having an opportunity to show what he was fully capable of. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you're trying to build a new culture and you're trying to instill that. You have to make examples out of people like this when they do things like that. Derrius Guice did something that is egregious. And look, don't know the story, don't know all of the intimate details. The bottom line is he turned himself in. Not saying that admits, you're admitting that you did anything wrong, but obviously something happened. Redskins not staying to figure it out. They're trying to create this new culture. The way that you do that is you show other people we're not standing for this. And Rivera already made it abundantly clear after the Washington Post article. We will not stand for any kind of tomfoolery of any kind, especially when it comes to females. The NFL has cracked down on domestic violence. All of the sports, for that matter, have cracked down on domestic violence as they should. And after that Washington Post article, the Redskins could ill afford anything negative with females. So Derrius Guice had to be made an example out of. and the Redskins didn't waste any time doing it. Again, it sucks because we've been down this road before. We can't have nice things. I've already told you this before. Whether it's the Redskins or now the Washington football team, we can't have nice things. I'm hoping Ron Rivera changes all of that, but it's a process. I know that this isn't going to happen overnight. I'm not expecting it to, but God damn it, during this process, could we at least allow Ron to get this thing off the ground before guys try to F it up and send it sideways and derail it? Good grief. Man, I tell you what, this is how we do business. But maybe this is one step backwards to take two steps forward, because if you're going to build this thing the right way, you need the right guys in the locker room. And maybe Derrius Guice wasn't one of the guys that needed to be in this locker room. I don't know. I'm a huge proponent of everything happens for a reason. This one stings because we invested a second round pick. And I told you, I've said this, we don't know what to do with second round picks, okay? You tell me the last time the Redskins hit on a second round pick, and I'd like to know, all right? And I should give you some type of prize if you can tell me the last time the Redskins legitimately hit on a second round pick, because we just don't have any success with second round picks. We just don't know what to do with them. And that's why I didn't have a problem not having a second round pick last year. Okay, last draft. Because you know what I said? If you're going to tell me I'm going to get 2 first round picks and the cost of doing business is to just give up a second rounder the following year, I'm all about it, because we don't know what to do with second rounders. Maybe that's about to change with Kyle Smith and company running the show. But I can tell you this, the track record speaks for itself. And you could go down the list, starting probably back in 2005 with one of the most epically bad, was it 2008, excuse me, one of the most epically bad drafts in recent memory. And I'm not just talking Redskins / Washington football team memory and history. I'm talking about NFL history. It was a terrible draft by the Redskins, including 3 second round picks that were awful. Devin, what was it? Devin Thomas, Malcolm Kelly, and Fred Davis. And then just keep going down the list of second rounders from that point forward. Go down the list of second rounders and find me a good one that actually contributed here for more than their rookie contract. You'd be hard pressed to find it. Okay, we just don't have success with second rounders for whatever reason, whether it's Sua Cravens, Preston Smith, who goes and balls out for another team as soon as he leaves here, or now Derrius Guice. Just keep going down the line, man. It's bad. It's really, really bad. So unfortunate that this happened. But again, if there was a position offensively that we could take this kind of blow, it was the running back position. The next man just steps in, and I thought he was going to get cut. But now Peyton Barber probably going to make this football team. You know what? I'm all for it. I like Peyton Barber. Think he's a quality running back in this league. And next man up. That's what this league is all about. Ron Rivera putting his foot down, making a statement. If we're changing the culture, these are the types of moves you have to make, and make them swiftly to send a message to everybody else out there. We won't stand for that. And so I love it. And now we got to move on. Let's take some comments before we get out of here. Really, really disappointed in Derrius Guice. I mean, that's really the extent of what I can say here. But let's go to the comment section quickly and see what we got. Rob U, thank you for the super chat. Rob U, greatly appreciate you. Rob U, who writes, Lou, what the F? He says, I was expecting this guy to go off this year. Shaking my damn head. I mean, look. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. I think all of us were expecting big things from him. We talked about him last night. Hell, we talked about the running back position quite a bit last night. I even cut a Washington football team short off of the running back discussion that we had last night, and it featured Derrius Guice, and we even talked about would Derrius Guice ultimately start the season off as the primary ball carrier, and I said I didn't think he would, but we talked about AD passing off the torch to Derrius Guice, and obviously that's not going to happen. And so, we were all expecting big things from him, and this is what we get. But as Washington football fans, you should be somewhat used to this. You should have already built up a tolerance for this. This kind of news should make you somewhat jaded. All right, you should be somewhat jaded by this kind of news, because if you've been a fan long enough, you've endured enough of these stories. You've been here before. How many times did we say, man, here comes Junior Gillette, only for Junior Gillette to tear his ACL? You know, how many times did we get excited about Sua Cravens? Oh, man, did you see that interception to seal the Giants game off of Eli Manning? Sua about to be a beast, only to realize Sua Cravens didn't want to play for this football team. Sua Cravens, and, you know, I think he was, I'm not going to keep my mouth shut there. Bottom line is, we've been here before, okay? And this might not be the last time that we're here, okay? All last year, all we talked about, when is Trent coming back? When is Trent coming back? We've been down this road before. We're used to heartbreak and headaches. So this isn't anything new for us. Got another super chat. This one from Juan Gotti Talking Sports. Thank you for the super chat, Juan Gotti Talking Sports, who writes, Bryce Love, your time has come, my son. Nice logo, T. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Look, Bryce Love is a guy that we're expecting big things from. I'm not going to rush Bryce Love along. I think that's a guy they're going to try to take it a little bit slow with. But AD is going to, and I'm not moving off of this, and I had said this last night, AD was going to start the season off as the primary ball carrier. I felt like Derrius Guice was going to take over that mantle at some point if he stayed healthy during the course of the season. Maybe the guy next in line is going to be Bryce Love. You know, maybe it turns out to be now a bigger role for Antonio Gibson as a running back. Maybe he was going to be more of a receiver out of the backfield. Maybe now they look at him more as a primary ball carrier. We'll see what they decide to do. As I said, Peyton Barber is a guy that now all of a sudden becomes a bigger fixture in the mix. This was the guy that I was dismissing. I didn't think he had a shot in making this football team. If you were keeping 5 backs, I had already told you the 5 that I thought were going to make this football team in AD, Guice, McKissick, Gibson, and of course, Bryce Love. Now you trim off the fat of Derrius Guice, and I think you insert damn, I forgot his name that quick, Peyton Barber, and you just keep it pushing. So we'll see what the Washington football team decides to do. But Bryce Love may be a guy that sees a bigger workload now with this move here that the Washington football team had to make after the development of Derrius Guice getting in trouble. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, King of the North, who writes, running back depth makes more sense now, right? Charges stem from stuff that happened in spring. Whatever the case may be, whether it happened in the fall, spring, summer, winter, doesn't matter. This was something that he participated in. This is something that he did, and now he's got to pay for it. And so the bottom line is the Redskins moved swiftly, and this is why we talk about that depth. This is why I talked about that and really stressed depth last night. And I told you, we've got it everywhere. Now, you may not love the depth. It may not be top-notch depth, okay? But it's depth nonetheless. Okay, you may not love the fact that we got 3 guys that can play left tackle and none of them are proven and none of them are A-plus players at this point, but we got depth. Somebody can play left tackle. All right, you may not love that we went out and signed Wes Schweitzer to compete at left guard. I don't love Wes Schweitzer at left guard as a starter, but guess what? He gives us depth. If something were to happen to Wes Martin, he'd be able to step in. We wouldn't fall off a cliff at left guard. You see where I'm going with this. You go down the list, linebacker. We got linebackers for days. Josh Harvey Clemens decided that he was going to opt out. Cool. We got plenty of linebackers for days. You know, same thing with Caleb Brantley. You know, he's got an underlying health issue. He decided to opt out. Guess what? We got defensive linemen for days. Okay, so we've got depth. It may not be great depth. Again, you may not love the depth. This is why they signed all those guys in the offseason, to come in and compete and to give us something that we really haven't had, which is depth. A lot of us shook our head when they signed Peyton Barber. What are you doing? This is overkill. We got enough running backs. Well, this is why you do things like that. If you stay prepared, you don't have to get prepared. As a wise man once told me, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Redskins were ready. Washington football team was ready. Thank you for the super chat, King of the North. Got another super chat. This one from DMV Fan 123. Thank you for the super chat, DMV Fan 123. Embarrassing offseason, to put it mildly. You know, the hits just keep coming, man. You know, could you imagine if Quentin Dunbar were still here? We dodged that bullet, but there were so many others coming our way. There's only so many bullets you can dodge when they just keep squeezing, man. They keep letting off at us. Shots just keep ringing out. Pop, 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 pop. And you might dodge one, you might dodge another one, but there's only so much dodging you can do before you get hit. Boop, boop, boop. And look, nobody in the league gets shot at more than us, okay? Nobody else gets shot at in the league more than us. And again, we've gotten a little bit better at dodging, but you're going to get hit if you get shot at as much as we do. And so they emptied the clip on us this offseason. They really did. They emptied the clip. We dodged a couple of bullets, but we got hit enough times that we're pretty wounded. However, I told you the right man is here. We got the right man for the job. Dr. Rivera is here to save the day, man. He's here to put us back together. All right. We're a broken fan base. There's a lot of people who have checked out because of stuff like this. They've checked out. All right. And for other various reasons. Okay. These type of episodes have been happening since Dan Snyder took over. Okay. So it's not just these types of episodes. It's the losing. It's the constant turnover change. It's the way that we lose. It's the way that we do business. We haven't done anything right. Now you have Ron Rivera, and this is the right move. You know, the whole name situation, that was the right move to go with the Washington football team. That was the right move, not to rush into something abruptly and be half-hearted with the rollout. Do it the right way. They've done the right things of late, but again, when you are what we've been, it's hard to dodge these types of issues. It's just hard. It always seems like something is looming with this football team. Thank you for the super chat, DMV Fan 123. Rob U, double up, thank you for doubling up, Rob U. Greatly appreciate you. Rob U writes, I'm on the Antonio Gibson train now. I mean, I was always on that train. All aboard! I was always on that train. The real question, I don't want this to change how they decide to deploy him. I don't want them to feel like now because Guice isn't in the mix anymore. That's why you got Peyton Barber. Peyton Barber can function as a Derrius Guice replacement. He's the perfect guy to come in and be just like Derrius Guice. Physical, tough, in between the tackles runner, similar to Derrius Guice. Doesn't have the same speed as Derrius Guice does, but he can do all of the things that Derrius Guice was going to provide for this football team, just not on the same level as Guice could when he was healthy. So I don't think you need to alter what Antonio Gibson is going to bring to the table now that you have this Derrius Guice situation. I think you can just go ahead and allow Antonio Gibson to be who he is. He's a multifaceted threat that you can put anywhere on the football field and get him the football in space. And so I don't think you need to alter that. I don't think you need to now ramp up his touches in terms of carries. Don't go out of your way to try to get him involved out of the backfield. If he is better served being a mismatch as a receiver out of the backfield, that's how they should use him. But I've always been on the Antonio Gibson train. After I figured out what this guy could provide, I was on board fully. And so, you know, a lot of us, when he was drafted, we weren't sure who this guy was, and we didn't love the pick at the time. After doing our homework, we were infatuated with what this guy could bring. And that hasn't changed for me. And with this situation, I think it just makes it that much more apparent that this depth that the Washington football team has assembled really is going to do this team some good in 2020. Thank you for the super chat, Rob U. Got another super chat. This one is from King of the North. Once again, double up, thank you for doubling up, King of the North. Greatly appreciate you. King of the North writes, difference in years past and now is Rivera was prepped for this. It feels like, I don't want to say he saw this coming, but they saw a quality football player out there that they liked, and Ron Rivera was very familiar with Peyton Barber's work, in the NFC South. Remember, Rivera came from the Panthers and Peyton Barber came from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he was very familiar with what Peyton Barber brought to the table, and they liked him as a football player, and they didn't necessarily have a need at running back per se, although you could argue when you look at the roster, Derrius Guice couldn't stay healthy. Bryce Love hasn't played a down for this team. Adrian Peterson is 35 going on 36 years old. When you looked at the running back position, we may think it's stacked and loaded. They may have looked at it a totally different way, saying, look, we don't know what we have. It's a unknown commodity back there in terms of what we actually have. J.D. McKissick we bring in. It's another guy that has had issues staying healthy, and he's a guy that is more of a scat back, third down option, pass catching threat than he is in between the tackles runner. So we still need another guy, and that's why you bring in a Peyton Barber. And, on the surface, it looked like, man, what are these guys doing? From the outside looking in, you say, man, this is a little bit of overkill. We got plenty of backs. We really don't need this extra guy. It turned out to be for the best because, this situation ended up cropping up. And, you can never be over prepared. And I always tell you guys this, you can never have too many in this league of anything. It's funny when you see some teams draft another wide receiver and you go, they don't need another wide receiver. You can never have too many. And usually when you do things like that, you have something in mind. That's why I wouldn't have been shocked had Derrius Guice gotten injured or had he just gotten into, some minor trouble, not something like domestic violence, but had he gotten into something minor, like a DUI or something, it wouldn't have shocked me if they would have cut him. Because I've heard innuendos out there floating around. Kevin Sheehan has said on his podcast numerous times, and he's not the only person that I've heard say this. And I've had people hit me in my inbox and tell me, hey, man, there are some people out in Ashburn that aren't the biggest fans of Derrius Guice. So, it's not that far-fetched that if something cropped up, and something not on this level, but if something had cropped up, he could have been cut anyhow. It's not a coincidence that they had Peyton Barber on the roster. I just digest that for a second. Somebody could have been cut and Peyton Barber could be here. And you look at the money that they paid Peyton Barber, and I'm not saying it was difference making money, but it was more money than you give to a guy that you plan on cutting at the end of August. That's all I'm saying. And so when I looked at the money they gave Peyton Barber, I said, that's not, I'm about to cut you in 4 months money. That's, hey, we really like you and we think you have a roster spot here type of money. That's how I saw that deal, but I thought he was going to get cut because I just didn't see who was going to get cut at his expense. Now we see what ended up happening, and maybe they knew something that we didn't. I'm not going to give them that much credit, but I can tell you this much. Man, did they do a really good job of preparing themselves, as King of the North mentioned. They did a really good job of having a fail-safe kind of in place. They had a fallback plan in the event of an injury. I think Peyton Barber was more insurance for an injury because of the issues we've had at the running back position. I think he was more of an insurance policy because of injury, not because of someone doing something off the field that would force the Washington football team to take drastic measures and cut somebody. I don't think that's what they were intending to have to use him for, but that's what they ultimately had to use him for. So in any event, see if we got any more super chats. We got a couple more super chats. The next super chat is from Tim J. Thank you for the super chat, Tim J. Greatly appreciate you, Tim J. Who writes, I hate that you're right, but it opens a spot in the rotation. And, we'll see what happens. They could just say, all right, Peyton's good on the roster, but we're just going to feed AD the rock, and we're going to play off of him with all of the other guys that can help us as, pass catching threats, whether it's McKissick, Bryce Love, or Antonio Gibson. But, I think Bryce Love is the guy that might benefit from this the most in terms of touches. I think Bryce Love initially might have been the odd man out when you take a look at the roster as it was set up, and more specifically the running back position. As I mentioned yesterday, Guice and AD were going to be your first and second down backs. Then you start looking at your gadget guys. That would be McKissick and Gibson. And then you start looking at just specifically third down backs. Again, you go to Gibson and McKissick. If they can pass protect, those are the kind of guys that you'd like to have on the field. So then you ask yourself, well, where does Bryce Love fit into the equation? Now I think with this development here with Derrius Guice being cut, now I think Bryce Love is the guy that now elevates himself into maybe getting more touches and carries to see what it is he can provide for this football team. So it'll be interesting to see what they do to counterbalance this and counteract this move that was made. It'll be interesting to see if they feel like they need to go out and get another back. You know, it wouldn't shock me if they went out and signed another veteran back and brought another guy in here. I don't think that is necessary, but it wouldn't shock me if they decided that they needed to do that. So that's something else to keep an eye on as well. But it does open up a spot in the rotation. We'll see who occupies that spot. It's going to be one of two guys, I believe. It's either going to be Peyton Barber, who they just insert. I think that's the easiest thing for them to do. Or, you know, give a guy like Bryce Love an opportunity. He's not the same type of runner, though, as Derrius Guice. And that's why I think Peyton Barber would be the ideal guy to fill in, because Barber is more of a physical thumper type of runner, a physical in between the tackles, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of back, which Derrius Guice was as well. That's not necessarily what you're getting out of Bryce Love. Thank you for the super chat, Tim J. Got another super chat. This one from Chris SA210 Gaming. Thank you for the super chat, Chris SA210 Gaming, who writes, why not just call the team the Washington Hogs? Hashtag HTTR. I don't know why or what they're going to do with the name. They don't know what they're going to do with the name. This is evident by them calling the team the Washington Football Team. They have no idea what they want to do. They have a lot of work to do. And, you know, it would not shock me if they decided to just keep the name the Washington Football Team. We talked about this 2 weeks ago on the live stream that's being kicked around. I don't like that idea, by the way. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, that's a dumb idea. It's cool for 1 year, but this team needs a logo. They need a nickname. They need to get creative. They need to do all of the work behind the scenes, get all of the trademarks and all of the things that they need to do that comes with locking down all of the things that they need to do to make it permanent. And they need to find a nickname for this team. They need to find a logo for this team. They need to be able to market a nickname. And so I don't want to be the Washington Football Team permanently, but that's something that they're kicking around. So if fans embrace this, they're going to stick with it. So you guys have to make sure you let them know that you're not cool with the idea of the Washington Football Team moving forward. It's cool for 1 year. All right. But it's not something you want this team to be called moving forward. So thank you for the super chat, Chris, SA210 Gaming. See if we got another super chat. And we do. Justin Manish, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Justin Manish, who writes, Rocky McIntosh was a stellar second-round pick. Stellar is not the right adjective to describe Rocky McIntosh's time here in Washington. Again, Rocky McIntosh didn't get a second contract from this regime. He did not get a second contract from the Redskins. As a matter of fact, did Rocky McIntosh even play for another team after he left here? That tells you how good Rocky McIntosh was, okay? If he played for another team, it wasn't for more than 2 years, all right? Anytime we draft somebody and they leave here, they usually don't stick around for very long, whether it's Keenan Robinson or Brian Orakpo or Rocky McIntosh. Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves Emily. These guys don't stick around. And that just goes to show you how we miss in the draft. Like, somebody tweeted to me, and I had seen this, but someone tweeted at me that the Bills released our former center. I can't remember his name for the life of me. And all I could do was just look like, it's what we do. We produce guys that don't latch on. And remember, he got big money from the Jets in free agency. Him and Jamison Crowder left at the same time. damn, his name is right there on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember his dang on name to save my life. But and this is what we do. We haven't had success, but I feel like Kyle Smith is kind of changing that tide. You know, when you look at the last 3 drafts, I've actually been pleasantly surprised and impressed with some of the guys that we've been able to pluck. And I think these are guys that are going to be Redskins for a long time. And so I think we're doing it the right way now, but the success hasn't been there in the second round. And these last 3 years in the draft, the success hasn't been there in the second round. You know, and so we'll see what happens, you know, but they traded away their second round pick this past year. What was the second rounder the year prior to that? I don't even know if we had a second rounder then either. You know, at the end of the day, I think we gave up our second rounder in the 2019 draft to come up and get Montez Sweat in addition to the second rounder in the following year's draft. So we didn't have a second rounder the last 2 years. And again, I don't miss it because we don't. These are the types of things that happen to our second round pick. And Guice was our second round pick the year before that. So the last 3 years, we haven't had success. And again, you just keep going down the line in the second round. It's just bad pick after bad pick after bad pick after failed pick after failed pick. So thank you for the super chat, Justin Manish. Got another super chat. Double up. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Chris SA210 Gaming. Really appreciate you. Who writes, what name would you have given Washington? You know, Red Wolves was growing on me. I don't know what I would have named the team, to be honest with you. I told you anything with an R would have probably satisfied me. I shouldn't say that because there were some corny names out there that started with an R that I really wouldn't have been a huge fan of. I wasn't the biggest fan of Red Tails. I know a lot of people were jumping on Red Tails because of what it meant and how symbolic it was. And I was cool with that imagery. And, you know, but I didn't, that name didn't resonate with me. You know, Red Wolves was starting to grow on me, but I really don't know what I would have named the team, to be honest with you. I was perfectly fine with Redskins. You guys know that. And so it was hard for me to kind of come up with something else because I was fixated on why can't we just keep our name the way it is? I understand why it needed to change. I don't like it, but I understand why people felt like the name needed to go. And so I don't know what I would have done in that situation. Probably Red Wolves is probably what I would have went with. I started to warm up to the idea of Red Wolves. Initially, it wasn't something that tickled my fancy. I'm still not 100% on board with that. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers. I don't want to be Washington football team. I can tell you that much. So really at this point, whether it's Warriors, Red Tails, or Red Wolves, honestly, if you're telling me I have to choose between any of those, Generals, Senators, or the Washington football team, I'll take the field, okay? I don't want to be the Washington football team after 2020. So at this point, I honestly could care less what they name it. I don't want to be the Washington football team. So we'll see what they decide to do. But thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Chris, SA210 Gaming. Got another super chat. This one is from, let's see who this next one is from. Oh man, somebody listed all of the second rounders. I'm gonna read it too, even though they didn't super chat it. I'm gonna read it too because I'm interested to see. And I know, you know, I'm a lifelong fan. I'm a diehard. You know how closely I follow this team and I follow the draft. So you know, I know that we have stunk it up in the second round. So I'm gonna read that one when I get down there. But I got another super chat here from 99 Problems Chase Ain't One. Thank you for the super chat, 99 Problems Chase Ain't One, who writes, Louie dressed in all black. Oh, no, he writes. You know what time it is. Dressed in all black like the Omen. Means we took another one, smack dab on the chin. It's what we do best, all right? Your chin should be made of granite at this point. Anyhow, guys shaking my head. That's what happens when you shake Trump's hand and visit the White House. AG next, McCaffrey, mark my words. I hope you're right about Antonio Gibson being the next McCaffrey. I can't co-sign that because McCaffrey is one of a kind. He's a different breed. And I can tell you right now, Antonio Gibson doesn't have the quicks nor the shakes of a McCaffrey. He doesn't have he's got tight hips. I've already told you that. So he's not McCaffrey. McCaffrey will break you off something proper out in space. All right, leave your draws dangling at the 5 as he's leaping into the end zone. for a touchdown. That's not what AG is doing. However, he's capable of outrunning people. That's what he does. And McCaffrey's 205, 210 max. All right, Antonio Gibson's 225, 230. Okay, so different specimen, different body type, different ways to get it done. But as you mentioned, both can catch it out of the backfield, and both have top-notch speed. So Gibson a little bit faster than McCaffrey, but you're splitting hairs at that point. McCaffrey's a home run hitter. Gibson has the potential to be a home run hitter. Both of them can catch it out of the backfield, but McCaffrey's a different animal. So I don't want to put that on him. But I think he can be a dynamic football player, a guy that can come in here and change the game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Antonio Gibson brings to the table. And as far as Guice is concerned and shaking Trump's hand and all of that, look, I stay away from that kind of stuff. I'll just say this, man. You reap what you sow. All right? You reap what you sow. So it is what it is. All right? As we continue on, got another one from Hype Dude this time. Thank you for the super chat, Hype Dude. Greatly appreciate you, Hype Dude, who writes, I'm just getting on, but damn, Lou, why us again? Shaking my head. You know why us. I told you, karma's a funky, nasty sumbitch, man. And we built up so much bad juju. You know that. You know better. You know better. Karma's not done with us yet. Ron's he's got to wring out that bad karma rag. It's a lot of bad juju in that rag. He's got to wring it out and make sure it's absolutely dry. And so he's been wringing it out all offseason, whether it's the Washington Post article, it's the name change, it's, this situation. He's been wringing out the rag all offseason long. Kelvin Harmon getting injured. Eventually, he's going to wring it out. It's going to be totally dry, and then he's going to be able to move forward. But he inherited all of this nonsense. He didn't do this. He inherited this, and it's his job to try to turn it around. And I pray for him. I do. Every day I pray for him, because when you come to this organization, this is what happens. This is what you have to deal with. This is why nobody wanted to come here, which is why I said we were very fortunate that Ron chose us. Because if he didn't, who knows who would have ended up taking this job. It could have gotten really, really ugly. So we're really fortunate. As I've mentioned a million times, I'm going to probably mention it a million more. We got the right man for the job. I couldn't envision anybody else being here turning this thing around but Ron Rivera. And so I'm excited about what the future holds for him. And I love the fact that he acted so swiftly in this situation, because the last regime wouldn't have. And we just would have had a black eye. We would have had to wear that shiner for a while. And we would have probably ended up putting him on some kind of list while they tried to figure things out. There's no figuring anything out when these situations like this happen. Especially with the track record that the Redskins have with the cheerleading scandal, with the whole New York Times article from 2018, the Washington Post situation. You don't have any rope. You don't have any leeway with females. You can't have anything, which is why the whole Reuben Foster signing once upon a time was head scratching, because that wasn't too far removed from the New York Times article about the whole trip with the cheerleaders and inappropriate behavior by some of the season ticket holders and investors and things of that nature. So, it's a new day here with the Washington football team. It's a new day. It's a new regime. It's a new culture. And that's the biggest takeaway from this. Not that Derrius Guice is no longer a Washington Redskin, because we've got enough running backs. We've got enough depth to be able to withstand this blow. It sucks because we were looking forward to Derrius Guice providing something that we've been waiting on, which is a full season of Derrius Guice tearing shit up. We're not going to get that, but that's okay. What the real story here is, Ron Rivera isn't playing any games. All right? He's not with the shits. If you're not here to help change the culture, if you're a part of the problem, you got to go. That's the big takeaway from this whole ordeal. Thank you for the super chat, Hype Dude. And remember, I thank all of you guys and gals for watching. If you're out there, various ways to support the movement known as the Louie T Network. You've got obviously super chats, which I appreciate each and every single one of you for super chatting. There's also PayPal, Louie T Network there. There's also CashApp, Louie T Network there as well. There's Patreon, Louie T Network there. All of those are down in the description. So if you want to support, there are various ways to do that, and I thank you guys in advance for that. As we move on to the next super chat, because I think we have more, and we do. This one is from Ain't No Half Stephen. I like that name, by the way. Ain't No Half Stephen, or Stephen, writes, 3 separate Guice incidents. The Monte Nicholson situation equals not quite a good job. Look, they got rid of, look, this is part of the culture change. Monte Nicholson didn't even get a chance to do anything this offseason. Remember, Monte did a bunch of stuff last offseason, and the team just turned a blind eye. You know, somebody died at the man's crib. That lady's parents and family members were outside the stadium protesting, and the Redskins turned a blind eye to her and to the rest of them and said, hey, Monte's playing this weekend. Like, what are you doing? All right? So now we're putting that Washington Redskins stuff aside. We're now the Washington football team. It feels the same, but it's not, because they got rid of Monte before he could do anything stupid this offseason. And I don't know if you guys are paying attention. Nobody's picked up Monte Nicholson, okay? Derrius Guice, I thought he might have been skating on thin ice, as I mentioned. I've heard it. It was floating out there already. It was circulating that maybe they felt like he was a bit immature. I don't think they were going to do anything rash, though. Okay, he was going to have to force them to pull the trigger. Well, he put their finger on the trigger. He dared them to pull it. He played Russian roulette, and he might have just blown his own career's brains out. All right, we'll see what happens. Maybe this blows over and someone gives him a chance down the road, like a Kareem Hunt. But Kareem Hunt actually had production on the field. Guice didn't. So I don't know if he gets another chance or not. We'll see what happens with the situation itself. That has to be worked out first. And then, you know, time passes. Maybe someone gives him an opportunity. We'll see. The league is going to step in. He's going to be suspended. So that's also something you'll have to deal with down the road. But at the end of the day, Ron Rivera has been proactive in these situations to this point. And this is another prime example of that. And to me, that's the biggest takeaway right now is Rivera's not playing any games. And that's, if you're going to change a culture, these are the types of moves, unfortunately, you have to make, that the last regime wasn't willing to make. Thank you for the super chat. Ain't No Half Stephen. Love that name again. And just to recap, for those of you that joined the stream late, Derrius Guice turned himself into authorities. There was a warrant out for his arrest for domestic violence. The Redskins the Washington football team subsequently cut him upon learning about this development. And maybe they already knew all along that this was looming, that potentially charges could be filed and brought to Derrius Guice's doorstep. And upon that happening, they may have already told Derrius, hey, look, bruh, you know, and he might have went to the team and said, look, I got into a little mess. They're kind of working some things out. The DA is trying to figure out if they're going to bring charges against me. And they might have said, hey, look, Derrius, we're going to keep this under wraps. But we're just telling you right now, if this thing comes to light, if charges are in fact filed, we got to let you go, bruh. And he might have said, hey, I understand. I don't know. Maybe that there was an understanding there, or maybe this just was sprung on them and their initial reaction was like, hey, get him the hell out of here. Get him his walking papers now. Clean his locker out. Go get a trash bag. All right, go find the Turk. Tell him to get a trash bag and get Derrius' shit out of here. Now, they're not playing around. Ron said, I got daughters. I got a daughter. I'm not for the bullshit, okay? You're not bringing that here. After the Washington Post story, he made it abundantly clear. We're not doing the female stuff here, guys. We're not doing that here. I got a daughter, all right? I'm not playing any games with y'all. So you knew it wasn't going to be this whole, you know, dancing around and let's let the system play itself out. Hell no. Ron's made it abundantly clear. Ron's playing. Not to be tampered with. Not to be tampered with. Got another super chat. I think I got another super chat. Spencer Long, thank you. Darren Elliott. Spencer Long is the offensive lineman that the Jets just let go of. And again, former Redskin that wasn't able to cut it elsewhere. I think I got another super chat. I know I got another super chat. Got a couple more super chats. And I know there was a comment somewhere where it was a bunch of the ex-Redskins second-round picks floating around here. I don't know if I missed it or if it's gone, but whatever. We're going to keep it pushing. So I got another super chat. This one is from CMEHTTR. Thank you for the super chat, CMEHTTR, who writes, Derrius Guice seems like a good person. Redskins, Washington football team always gets the short end of the stick. Seems like a good person and actually is a good person. Two different things. He may be a really good person that made a really bad and terrible mistake. Those things happen too. I know people that those types of things have happened to, but as I tell all the youngins that are in my life, all it takes is one mistake to alter your path in life. You got to really be careful and think about everything before you act. And so he might be a really good dude. I don't know him personally, so I can't speak to his character. He seemed like, I can tell you this, he was definitely eccentric. He seemed like a happy-go-lucky guy, someone that might have been really fun to be around, but he was different. You know, different doesn't make you bad. Different doesn't make you good. It makes you different. He was unique. But this isn't a good look for him. I can tell you that much. And yeah, we get the short end of the stick, but we bring it on ourselves. Nobody does this to us. We do it to ourselves. So you don't get a pity party when you have self-inflicted wounds. You don't get a pity party. Woe is me is allowed when things happen to you and it happens by chance. And you're like, oh man, why me? You don't get to feel bad when you do things to yourself. That's why the last 21 years under Dan Snyder has been a nightmare for us as fans. Because a lot of what has happened to us, and I went through some of it last night, thinking that Norv Turner was turning the corner back in 1999, only to see Dan Snyder come in and pull the rug from under him by bringing in Jeff George and Mark Carrier and Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders and forcing him to put Jeff George into the game when Brad Johnson just threw for 4,000 yards and led us to a division title the year before. Like, these are the things that we've had to endure for 21 years. It's been self-inflicted. I know you don't want to hear this, but we let a franchise quarterback walk out the door. These are self-inflicted wounds. Okay, I know a lot of you don't want to hear it. I don't care. It's the truth. It's what we've dealt with. So, not why us, not oh my God, it's always us. You know what's up. You know what's up. Thank you for the super chat, CMEHTTR. Got another super chat. This one is from Justin Manish. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Justin Manish. Greatly appreciate you. Justin writes, I was just joking about Rocky McIntosh. Sometimes I don't know, and I'm in, the mood that I'm in right now. Jokes can kind of go over my head because I'm taking everything literally right now because of the mood I'm in. I'm a little salty, as you can tell. So I'm sorry if you were joking about Rocky McIntosh. I should have known better. If you're a real fan, Rocky McIntosh was trash. I don't have to tell you that, but I'm glad you were able to clarify that because I thought you were serious. Okay, so I'm glad you were able to come back and say, hey, I don't want you to think I'm some kind of clown. I was just joking, okay? Just joshing about Rocky McIntosh. Just joshing, all right? You really give Super Chats their money's worth, Lou. The last name is pronounced like bench. Got you, by the way. Okay. So, Justin Minch. Gotcha. All right. Sorry about that. Greatly appreciate you super chatting, Justin Minch. Greatly appreciate you. And sorry about Rocky McIntosh. Let's see. Got another super chat. This one is from Gally Sanford, my guy Gally. Thank you for the super chat, Gally, as always. Unfortunately, we're meeting under these circumstances, but it is what it is. Gally writes, sorry I'm late. Wanted to show the love as always. I know you always gonna hold me down. I really appreciate you, Gally, man. Thank you so much for the love. All right, and so Let's see if we have any more. Got another one from DMV fan 123. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, DMV fan 123. Matter of fact, I think you tripling up at this point. Either way, Ian Rappaport said Guice hurt his knee again. I don't know how true that is, if in fact it's true or not. At this point, I'm gonna be really honest with you, brutally honest with you. It wasn't a matter of if he was going to get hurt. For me, it was when. I wasn't going to speak that into existence, though. That's not my steeds. That's not how I conduct business. And I'm always a glass half full guy. So I wasn't going to speak that into the atmosphere. However, in my mind, the way my mind works is you slap me once, God damn, that hurt. What are you doing? That's me though. I should have been looking. You slap me a second time. Now I'm like, okay, bro, what the hell is wrong with you? You're not going to slap me a third time, okay? Damn if you slapping me again. All right, and so with Guice, my guard was already up. So in my mind, I'm thinking, it's not a matter of if with Guice. It's just a matter of when is he getting injured. So it wouldn't shock me if he got hurt again, but that's not why they released him. They didn't release him because he got hurt. You know, if that's in fact true. They released him because he just got popped for domestic violence. And they're sending a message. Ryan is sending a message here. The rest of the locker room is going to hear this one loud and clear. We will not stand for it. We don't care who you are, what draft capital was spent on you. If you can't follow the rules on or off the field, you got to go. We're trying to create a new culture here. So, you know, it is what it is. And on that note, I think that's the final super chat. And let's see. I thought, you know, there was a comment there with a whole bunch of Redskins. I'm going to look it up myself. Now, I'm curious. I want to read all the second round picks that the Redskins had the last 10. Let's go back a decade. What was it? The 2008 draft? I want to go back 12 years. So I want to know what the Redskins draft history looks like, because I'm telling you right now, our second round picks have been tragic. And I am looking forward to looking at this list and looking at all these failed. So I'm going to start at 2008 because that was the classic draft. So it's 2008 second round picks. You know them. I already read them off, but just listen to how bad this draft was in total. All right, 2008 draft. Devin Thomas, Fred Davis, Malcolm Kelly, all second round picks. None of them panned out in the league. Fred Davis smoked his way out of the league. Malcolm Kelly had 2 arthritic knees when we drafted him out of Oklahoma. And Devin Thomas, I still remember the New Orleans Saints game like it was yesterday. That was supposed to be the Memphis Bleak, all right, the Memphis Bleak coming of age game for Devin Thomas. I was so excited. We almost, remember, the Saints were undefeated that year. They won the Super Bowl. They came in here 13-0. We had them on the damn ropes. And Sean Sweezum missed like a 22-yard field goal with his stinking ass. And we ended up going to overtime and they beat us. But Devin Thomas went nuts in that game. I don't know if you guys remember that. But I said, this is why we drafted him. I never saw that shit again. That was it. Anyway, Chad Reinhardt in the 3rd round. Ugh. 4th round, Justin Tryon. Yuck. 6th round, Durant Brooks, a punter. Go figure. 6th round, Kareem Moore out of Nicholls State, a safety. 6th round, Colt Brennan. That should ring a bell with a lot of you. Quarterback out of Hawaii. Preseason All-Pro, Colt Brennan. Rob Jackson. That was a find for us in the 7th round. Made a big play, probably the biggest play that we can remember in the last 8 years. Back in 2012, pick of Tony Romo to win the division. And Chris Horton. He has a sesamoid. Okay, remember that bite? That sound drop from old, what's his face? What was, damn Swinging Gate? What was his damn name? Shit, I was about to call him Steve Largent. Jim Zorn. Chris Horton, I think he has the sesamoid. Damn, it's Chris Horton. All right, 2nd round in 2009. We didn't have a 2nd round pick. Good. 2010, we didn't have a second round pick. Good. 2011, Jarvis Jenkins. More like Jarvis Stinkins. Okay? Ended up playing his best football, arguably, with the Bears. And I remember I thought he was actually going to be good. Then he tore his ACL, was never the same guy. 2012 draft, we didn't have a second round pick. Good. 2013, David Amerson. How'd that turn out for us? 2014, Trent Murphy. 2015, Preston Smith. That looked like a keeper for a while. He's doing pretty damn good, I might say. Just not here. 2016, Sua Cravens. How'd that work out for us? All right. 2017, Ryan Anderson. I don't know about you. I don't think he's getting a contract after 2020. I can't speak for you out there. I don't think Ryan Anderson's going to be back after this season. We'll see. Ryan Anderson could put up 12 sacks this year, and they say to themselves, we can't let this guy walk. I don't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. But if you ask me, Ryan Anderson is playing his last season as a Washington football team member. All right, 2018, Derrius Guice. Need I say more? 2019, no second round pick, and as you know, we didn't have a 2020 second round pick either. So there you have it. The Redskins, or I could call it Redskins because that was the Redskins / Washington football team history in the draft in the second round. And so you see what we've been doing in the second round. Not pretty. Or as a wise man once said, second round picks, not very good. Not very good. Hey, got some more super chats. Chilled Dude. My man Chilled Dude, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, it's been a long road. The Dan curse is real. I'm not surprised. Been a fan since the 80s. All I can say is in Ron we trust. Love you, Louie. Keep working. Hail. Appreciate you. Yeah, I don't like the word curse, but there's something here. And it's just Dan. I'm not going to call it a curse. It's just Dan Snyder. It's just Dan Snyder. Period. It's bad juju. But you want to call it a curse, you can. It's Dan Snyder. He's the common denominator. Thank you for the super chat, Chilled Dude. Jordan like the GOAT. Thank you for the super chat, Jordan like the GOAT. Greatly appreciate you. Jordan writes, thoughts on what this means for Reuben Foster. This means nothing for Reuben Foster. He hasn't gotten in any trouble. And remember, all of his charges were dropped. So nothing ever came about his situation. He should have never been signed by the Washington football team when he was signed. But he hasn't gotten into any new trouble. He's been a model citizen since he's gotten here. As long as he stays on the straight and narrow, he'll be fine. If anything pops up with Reuben Foster, he's gone. All right, but I don't think this means anything for Reuben Foster. You will have the Washington Post and some other people dragging Reuben Foster into this. Absolutely. When you open a can of worms, when you open Pandora's box, you start to expose everybody and open up everybody to criticism, including someone who has a domestic violence, past on their record. And his rap sheet, pretty extensive if you're talking Reuben Foster and accusations of domestic violence. So for whatever that's worth, you're going to hear him brought up. There will be articles written saying that Reuben Foster should be next, whatever the case may be. I don't think anything's going to be done with him. As long as he continues to take care of his business and minds his P's and Q's, Y's and Z's on and off the field, he'll be just fine. Thank you for the super chat, Jordan, like the GOAT. Got another super chat. This one is from Joe Rockhead J. Thank you for the super chat, Joe Rockhead J. He writes, this organization is getting X-Lax clean, okay? And essentially he's saying we're getting rid of all this shit. Getting rid of all the shit, all right? All of the stinky stuff. We going ahead and we going to flush all of it. So get it out now. Fill the toilet up. Because Ron is going to walk to the toilet and he's going to flush it, man. He's going to hit that lever and the toilet's going to flush and we're going to keep it pushing, man. So it's a lot, man. Ron inherited a lot of shit, man. I don't know if one X-Lax was enough. this is some Dumb and Dumber type of dumps that we taking over here, man. I mean, blowing up the toilet and might be on it for a while. But as a wise man once said, you know, either you shit or you get off the pot. And we still ain't done yet, man. Obviously, we're not quite done yet on the shitter. So we're going to sit on this pot for a little while. I think there's a couple more that needs to be dropped in there. And then when we're done, we're going to get up. Hopefully, comes out nice and clean. No pieces break off. And there's not a lot of wipage necessary. And you get up, you wipe, you wash your hands, and you start anew. Wash your hands. That washing of the hands is symbolic, maybe of a new start. You wash your hands clean of all of the old baggage, and you move on. And but we're not done yet. As Joe Rockhead Jay said, man, it's X-Lax, so it's a lot more where that came from, man. We'll see what more we have to endure before this thing is all said and done. Anyhow, that was the last super chat. So I am going to exit stage left. Got one more super chat just came in. King of the North. Appreciate you, King of the North. I believe that's 3 for you, man. I really do appreciate you, King of the North. Thank you so much for the super chat. And he writes, 2020 equals purge by fire. Hey, man, by hook or by crook, it gets done. 2020 ain't playing no games. It's not. It's been relentless from day one. You know, started with Kobe in January, and it hasn't let up since. So 2020, not for the games, man. And neither is Ron Rivera. And that's what this move kind of symbolizes. And I'm really looking forward to Ron Rivera, man. I'm told you, Ron's playing. It's in full effect, man. And this move, to me, symbolizes that. So thank you for the super chat, King of the North. And thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for everyone joining me on this stream. I'll chop it up and, knock out a couple videos off of it to shorten some of the pieces for those who don't want to consume the entire thing. But I thank you guys for riding this entire hour with me, man. I really appreciate you guys as always. Remember, I am a Washington football team fan. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to our beloved Washington football team. I'm your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe to the Louie T Network, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already done so. And here's a quick reminder for you. Go ahead and make that happen. But in any event, I thank you guys. Take care. If anything else happens, as I always tell you, you're going to see this face all up in your space. But until then, you guys, be good. Take care of yourselves. And we'll reconvene at a later date and time. You guys, take care.